PSS has been making losses every year since its establishment. In 2010, from ranging in the amounts of 17,000 guilders in the first year to 1,100,000 guilders in the period throughout 2016. And no actions were taken or were in place to stop this negative financial process or financial bleeding. In the meantime, the debt of the company has grown to nearly 8 million guilders. PSS was not able to pay salaries and creditors because the monthly income of PSS is simply not sufficient to cover their monthly expenses. To keep PSS in operation and to avoid that the creditors declare PSS bankrupt, the government of St. Martin has been financially supporting the operation of PSS. The passing of Hurricane Irma and Maria has made the operation and financial situation of PSS worse. The PSS building was severely damaged, and PSS was forced to look for another location. A solution was found in the building next door, but this building was too small for the entire staff and public. Meanwhile, all members of the supervisory board of PSS resigned, and a new supervisory board was later nominated. The financial development at PSS has been characterized as disastrous and not sustainable. Therefore, immediate measures were necessary to correct and improve the financial situation, combined with securing the future viability of the company. The immediate plans was reorganizing and downsizing. The government decided not to continue with the unsustainable financial situation of PSS. Several options and financial possibilities were discussed. Due to the negative financial situation of PSS, it was and has been difficult to find a third party to invest in PSS. We looked and are still looking. As shareholder representative of PSS in the month of May 2018, I requested SWABE to do a manpower and financial assessment of PSS. The results of the assessments are mentioned in the report Manpower and Financial Assessments PSS dated September 13, 2018. I've asked the staff to provide the members of Parliament with a copy. So that's being digitally scanned as I speak. SWABE recommended, among others, to put the monthly income in balance with the monthly expenses by downsizing the personnel of PSS. Based on this report, a work group consisting of the PSS management, the St. Martin Telecommunication Union, and the SWABE was formed to execute the recommendations of the SWABE. Government opted to finance the downsizing from the government budget by paying the reduced salary payout, the lump sum payout, and voluntary leave payout to a total amount of $1,017,386 in monthly installments. The building. As mentioned before, Madam Chair, the PSS building was destroyed by the hurricanes, and PSS was temporarily allocated in another building. Together with the downsizing, government started the repair of the old civil registry office to reallocate PSS on government's own expenses. In October 2019, PSS moved to the new location and started operation with a downsized staff. The management. PSS has been managed for a long time by an assistant manager. To execute the long-term plans and for a good and stable future, a manager with commercial and financial expertise has to be appointed. The long-term plans, government has already proposed to the management and the supervisory board of PSS to convert PSS in a postal boutique at where different services can be given to the public. For instance, services like money transfer, e-commerce, special courier, services to government-owned companies, foundations, and other businesses in St. Martin and others. Management and supervisory board is preparing a short and long-term business plan, and we do have a close contact with the supervisory board. Future of PSS. For PSS to compete with giants in postal services like FedEx and DHL, it is necessary to change the postal law to allow PSS to give more services. More cooperation between the postal services of other countries in the kingdom can lower the cost of operation and improve the service to the public. PSS, as a member of the Universal Postal Union, has to continue using the services of this union to be on top of the latest developments of postal services in general. Depending on the results of the long-term plans, government will decide to look for a strategic partner.
I was also told that you were in high spirits in terms of offering them jobs, because I heard it, whether through the press briefings, by the soft opening of the new location where they are, that you want to help them get employed. But I was also told that you said that most of the other ministers are not in agreement. I would like to know if this is true, and I would also like to know which ministers are not in agreement and what is the reason for this. I would also like to know, when you promised them jobs in the civil service, did you do an assessment in terms of how much vacancies they have within government and where they would fit in? I know you can't speak for every other ministry, but I mean, at least for general affairs. Aren't there any vacancies in general affairs where one or two of those postal workers could find jobs? And I also mentioned the fact that a couple months ago we passed a law for the National Recovery Program Bureau. This has to do with the recovery of St. Martin. So I want to know, I mean, since taking office in January of last year, since then you promised on several occasions that they would find work for them. So not even in the program bureau, there's no vacancies, administrative, supervisory, any vacancy that can suit one of these 7 workers? I mean, according to me, they should have priority over anyone else applying, especially given the fact that they were promised by your person. I took a look at the formation plan from the PSS, the new formation plan. I also took note of the fact that you were getting rid, well, the post office was getting rid of the network administrator, the financial assistant, the VAS supervisor, and also the manager for retail. So now my question is this. If you get rid of the network administrator, which handles all the IT, who will do the work? Would this be outsourced? Because in my opinion, it's best to keep the person that is there employed doing the work instead of outsourcing it to a third party or a consultant that will end up costing government more. Well, the post office and government eventually. Or is it so that the few vacancies that are there, for instance, maybe the managing director will take over the finance? I don't see who will be able to take over the IT based on this formation plan here, but I would like some clarity on that. There's also a part in the formation plan where it has new functions. Below are new functions for which all employees will be able to apply for: administrative and support officer, operations manager. I would like to know, were these positions filled in the meanwhile? And if so, by whom? Was it somebody from the 7 workers that were considered redundant, or was it an outside individual or individuals? Based on the formation plan, I also noticed that, I don't know if it has been updated in the meanwhile, but by the managing director, they have all the scales, but for the salary for the workers that are staying on, but by the managing director, they have not applicable. Can you give a reason why this is not applicable, and if there has been an update in the meantime? Prime Minister, I have to draw emphasis and make it clear again to the fact that you also stated that no one will be laid off, no one will be sent home. And yet now we see that this was not true, because they have been sent home and they were laid off without being compensated with an alternative job. I would also like to know, is it true? Because according to me, they all went on interviews for various positions within civil service. They received the arm biddings brief, they had interviews, and all of a sudden this was pulled back. I would like to know, why was it pulled back from them?
It's been said that behind every door, possibility awaits. How much possibility depends on which door you open first. Every day, we help our customers discover the possibilities in their lives. It all starts with a conversation. Scotiabank. Discover what's possible.
GEBE has been faithfully serving the communities of St. Martin, powering your home and our economy. Come rain or shine, our qualified team of professionals are working hard 24 hours a day to provide you and your family with safe, reliable electricity and water. We use the latest technologies and test our products daily to maintain the highest international standards. Our friendly staff is always there to assist you, whether in person, over the phone, or online. We are committed to constantly improving our products and services, making them more efficient, effective, and environmentally friendly to serve you better today and our next generation of clients tomorrow. GEBE, powering a brighter future.
Our friend Megawati is here with tips to save you energy. 1. Turn your airco temperature up. 2. Use a ceiling fan instead. 3. Buy energy-saving products. Save some green with NV.
It's a whole long line of adults that failed that young mother and that failed that child when it came. And the state has 9 months notification that a baby is coming. It's not like a hurricane that comes with such a short notification. A baby gives 9 months of notification it is coming, and still it seems we are not able to be ready. Now, why do I go into this level of detail? Because in the Caribbean, it's not always necessarily chronic undernutrition that is your gravest problem. But we do have a problem with low IQ in many situations. And those students, those children, are discriminated against. And the last ones that should be discriminated are these students. They are the ones that actually should be most supported and helped, because many of us who should have been involved in trying to reach them in time didn't arrive in time. And we need to make sure that they are provided the support that they need. Now, I mentioned this because one of the goals that all the governments of the world, including St. Martin, have agreed to for year 2030 is no one left behind. No one left behind. Now, when you hear very often the heads of organizations, whether it is UNICEF or whether it is a governmental entity or whatever, they usually tell you how many they are reaching. Oh, we now reach 92% of the children, etc., etc. But what we need more than ever is to know whom are we not reaching. Who is it we are not seeing? Because exclusion operates because we are blind sometimes to certain things that happen around us. Mental conditions and syndromes are on the rise. We have seen a great increase in the number of autistic children. Autistic children basically have, generally speaking, the knowledge part of the brain functioning relatively well, but not just like with any typical child. They can be very intelligent or less so, but it's not connected with the emotional part. So an autistic child needs to learn over the years that if I hit you in the finger, it will hurt you. He cannot feel it because that part is not connected. I don't know if you have seen a child with Down syndrome. A child with Down syndrome is exactly the opposite. They are super bright when it comes to the emotional intelligence. Emotionally, you see them and you become happy. But that part is not well connected with the knowledge part. So they need to be extra protected because they could be abused. And they are much more exposed to abuse than others. Just learning about all these conditions so that we don't exclude is very important. Otherwise, we will exclude them from development. And the reality is there are 300 million people around the world living with mental conditions and syndromes who are systematically discriminated against. In many countries, they are hidden at home. In other countries, Western countries in particular, instead of giving them half an hour of love when they have a tantrum, they give them an injection or a pill, which gradually destroys their nervous system. How come we're doing? I'm giving you these two examples because I think it's important to gradually generate knowledge around whom are we systematically discriminating. It was impossible to get in the Millennium Development Goals in the year 2000 indicators around chronic undernutrition because the politicians felt that it was easier to deal with the acute malnutrition, which is correct. The acute malnutrition, you can deliver food, and after a few months, you can overcome the situation. I remember arriving in Thailand, 1980s, and the acute malnutrition was over 11%, extremely, extremely high. The reason was actually because many had jumped into the refugee camp and were not officially counted. So there were like 35,000 in a refugee camp with 75,000. In reality, there were more like 110,000. So the food had to be split between all of them. Food was delivered for 75,000, but the actual number was way over 110,000.
Hey ma, how you doing? You busy?
I hear, just paying some bills, taking care of business, you know what it is?
I know, you're doing your online banking.
I don't have to stand in those long lines to pay bills. I can transfer when I want. I can check my account wherever. It's like the bank open 24/7. I even here checking the statement right now as we're talking. How's Miami?
Well, that's why I'm calling. I'm finishing up a few songs now, but I'm afraid that studio time might be more than I thought. And I was wondering if I could get some help with some funds, and I could pay you back as soon as I get back to St. Martin.
Let me check my account. How much you need?
I think 500 should be enough.
I can transfer it to you while online. Direct from me to you. No problem.
Great. Thank you so much, Ma. I'll get online with Viv now.
Alright, darling. You know who you're for?
I need to know who you're for.
Contact Wib today for your complete personal online banking experience. Available for all mobile devices, the Wynwood Islands Bank, now your online banking partner in progress.
Who you're for.
For the Minister of Finance. The members of the CFT are currently on St. Martin. I'm sure you have had discussions with them. If so is the case, the budget is yet to be presented on the floor of Parliament. Any reaction towards the budget 2019?
I'm not sure if I understand your question correctly. What is it from the budget 2019 that you really want to know?
The members of CFT
Yes.
are currently on the island. I'm sure the budget 2019 was a point of discussion. Has it been decided as to whether or not they're in agreement with the budget as is projected to be presented by your ministry?
Thank you. Now it's clear. My ministry, when preparing the budget, any budget, we do that in close collaboration with the CFT, because the CFT needs to issue a couple of advices to that effect. One of that is the Article 11 advice from the Kingdom Law on Financial Supervision that kind of give you a insight on improvements that still need to be done while you're in the process of compiling a budget. As you know, a revised budget will be presented to Parliament, and also in that process of the revised budget, we were working closely together with CFT. As a matter of fact, right now, that revised budget is with the CFT for advice. It is also at the Council of Advice for their advice as well. As far as I can judge the situation, I think we pretty much reach a consensus between us and the CFT on the content of the budget 2019.
For the past few weeks, there was talking about the number plate, but officially, according to the country law, is the Ministry of Finance have to, according to the law from the traffic, it tells you receiver's office have to issue the price and what each category price have to be. So they're coming in with this sticker. My question is to you, Minister, how advanced is that you amend the law, because in our laws doesn't recognize sticker. It only talks about nummerplaat. So I want to know if the Ministry of Finance, the section of receiver, how far the process is, and by what time you will issue to your other colleagues to execute the collection of the number plate.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson, for that question. Just question, I must say. First, the execution on the payment of the plates is still ongoing. So there is no hiccup whatsoever where that is concerned. Just a reminder, the issue of this number plate came to light when part of our citizens had an issue with the wording on that plate. The Council of Ministers discussed the problem at hand, and we came to a solution of also having stickers available for those who do not wish to carry the plate. And mind you, yes, your question is quite right. People have to understand that the plate is the legal object of paying your dues to, road tax and the payment for the plate. But to reach a consensus, or at least to appease the situation, we came up with the idea to also have a sticker available. This in discussed with the local police force, because you also have to pay attention to how are you going to enforce it. But mind you, it is the plate that is essential. But for those who do not wish to carry the plate, we have an option that they can have the sticker, but they will have to take the plate, because the plate is the one that makes it workable. Now, the question is, are they going to put the plate on their car? If they do not put the plate on the car, at least have it in your car, but make sure that the sticker is visible behind your shield, your front windshield, and that's how it is supposed to be rolled out.